Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Jordan here. Today is a very exciting day because we're going to be adding minifigures back to the LEGO City. In addition to that, I also plan on adding details to the city streets and sidewalks. As of late, the city has been lacking a bunch of those details because of the big city rebuild, and also when I tore apart the streets to add the bicycle lanes, a lot of those details had to be removed just because they sort of got in the way. The first thing that had to be done was locating all of the details and minifigures, and I've put them right over here on my desk. So I went through all my drawers and all of my different hoards to try and find all these things, and I found quite a bit. So we've got things like trees and hulks, a little coffee store there. Also this, which probably belongs in the amusement park, I guess. And then there's also these planters. They might get a new design for the new layout. And look at all of those street lamps. We've got black ones, dark green ones, and also white ones. And then there's the little scooter rentals. Like we could put those throughout the city. That would be pretty neat. And then I also have some traffic lights here, which were designed by Tangem. I'm considering redesigning these. I don't know, they've been in the city for a while. Maybe it's time to come up with some new traffic lights. Haven't quite decided if I'm going to install those today or not. That's a pretty cool little set, hey? Absolutely. Then we have all the minifigures, and included in the minifigures is a bunch of bikes because we've got bike lanes. So I've got to make sure to use all of my bikes and fill those bike lanes up. And there's Loki. He belongs in front of the Avengers Tower. But I've got tons of minifigures here. A lot of these belong in the LEGO City. I think this one here is actually an entire amusement park bin. But look at all that stuff that's going to be added to the LEGO City. Definitely not too bad. Pretty excited about adding some details back to it because that's what brings it to life. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun today. I decided to start up front here with streetlights because it's easy to reach and streetlights are the easiest to add. But with that said, getting them evenly distributed can be rather difficult as well. So I want to make sure that all the streetlights are sort of evenly distributed on the sidewalks because that makes sense. And I sort of like it when it looks symmetrical on either side. Now I'm doing this a little bit differently than I've done it in the past because in the past I actually surrounded it by dark gray tile. But this time I'm going to scrap that because every time you want to move one when it's surrounded by dark gray tile, it becomes a bigger process. So what I've decided to do is just put 2x2 light gray plates underneath the black street lamps. And the nice thing about that is if I want to move this one, it's not a big deal because I can just leave that 2x2 there because I'm actually using 2x2 plates all throughout my sidewalks for posing minifigures. So now if I want to move a street lamp because I don't like the position of it, I don't have to worry about taking out a brick separator, moving the plate underneath it, or moving the tiles that's surrounding it. I just think this is the most versatile and easiest way of adding these street lights. I can't imagine having lights, like actual, like physical lights going into them because then changing things would become quite the task. But yeah, I've pretty much got all the street lamps added to this front block here. There are a lot of them, but I just like the detail that they add. Classically, the modular buildings, they actually come with white ones, but I got all of these black ones out of the LEGO Extra bags. I don't think they sell those anymore, but that's why all of the traffic lights or street lights in my city are black because those extra bags had them. So convenient because I just think it looks so much better. Before I continue with this LEGO City update, just two quick notes. I know my crosswalks do not line up with the sidewalks in a lot of cases because of the bicycle lanes. The reason they're like that is because I don't have the parts to fix that. The parts are on the way from Denmark. They're taking their sweet time, and when those parts arrive, I will be able to fix that scenario. You're going to notice that all throughout the LEGO City. Also, throughout the LEGO City roads, you're going to notice this. Once again, the parts are on the way so that I can fix that as well. Eventually, it's going to look like that. And there's going to be more of those print pieces throughout the bicycle lanes, but that's why the crosswalks don't line up. There's crosswalks in random spots, and there's holes in my bicycle lanes. The sidewalks just look so much better when they have the lights. Just a little bit of detail in the LEGO City goes a long way. I really like the ones out front here because they line up. See, they line up there and with the ones in front of the boutique hotel, and also the ones with the fire brigade. And then the Daily Bugle. This one here is a classic. Sandman has just ripped it out of the ground. It's flying through the air. As I was adding the black lamppost to the downtown core, I ran out because I used a lot of them over there and I just didn't have enough. So I was like, oh, what am I going to do in the residential area and also by the zoo and campground? Am I going to switch them to white? I tested that, did not look too good at all. So I actually decided to use these solar powered ones from the road plate packs. So they run down both sides of the street here and they're pretty much all lined up as well. So nice and symmetrical, just like the black ones in the downtown core. They also come down this way, right by the beach, in front of the McAllister's house, in the diner parking lot, and then they swoop around by the campground here and go right in front of the zoo as well. Just figured that makes sense because the zoo and the campground and maybe the residential area, they want to run on solar. They're all about energy savings. And I just think these look really good in this area, specifically when the lights are off. Check it out. Isn't that cool? It's almost like I've added physical lights in the city because the 1x2 plates that come in the road plate packs actually glow in the dark. So in addition to all of those street lights, I also decided to add some black ones right here on the beach boardwalk. Just think it matches the vibe a little bit better. I don't think the solar panel ones will look very good there. But isn't that cool? Now I've got lights all throughout the Lego City. So I'm just going around and placing minifigures on those 2x2 plates or the jumpers if I have enough of them. And as I do that, I'm trying to create stories. And also I keep coming across things like this. This just needs to be tiled off. Maybe some details need to be added on either side of the modular buildings just because an empty mill plate isn't going to work there. This is the entrance to the train station. And then I also keep coming across things like this and just does not look good at all. So I've got to pretty much rebuild all this and make sure that there's the proper brick there. Some of them are easy to change, but some of them are a little bit more difficult, like this here underneath the Spring Lantern Festival. That'll sort of suck. This one probably be pretty easy, but as I'm like looking around, I'm like, it's so ugly. It seems like I always come across these things when I'm working on little projects like this, but it's good to tidy them up at the same time. So as I was down here working on the Lego City, of course, I'm always thinking about different projects. And a project that's been on my mind recently is the Winter Village. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do with the Winter Village. Some people have been suggesting that I remove the zoo and build the Winter Village over there. Some people have been suggesting that I remove the beach and build it over here. But I've actually come up with a really cool idea. I'm not going to share that with you today in this video, but believe me, the Winter Village is going to be new and improved and bigger than it has ever been before. And I'm pretty excited about it. When I get back from Denmark, I'm going to start that project. No, when I get back from Denmark, I'm going to finish like the details and everything in the downtown core and also in the amusement park, and then I'm going to start that project. That'll be the order of things, but it's going to be pretty awesome. The Lego City is absolutely loaded full of minifigures and stories. Not only did we add a ton of figures, but we also changed some up, such as the ones on the beach here. We've got some scuba divers that just finished their dive. And then we've got some benches added to the boardwalk as well. A roller skater. And this lady right here is singing with her little tip jar out. And also, you probably noticed already that the trains are fired up and they're making their way around the tracks as well. So that's the ground line and also the raised line. Made some modifications to the track itself, so it's a little smoother for the ground line. And then the raised line is just zooming around no problem. Recently changed the batteries on that, so it feels pretty good to have the trains both operational. Here by the beach, we've got the McAllister's house, and we set up Harry and Marv. They're currently scoping out the McAllister's house, just right there, outside of their OK Plumbing van. And then there's a whole bunch of minifigures that have been added all throughout this entire area. Such as this police scene right here with the ice cream crooks. We've got 3 officers taking them down because they stole an ATM machine. This gentleman's walking his dog. We've got a couple right there. And then we also have Abe Simpson behind this bush. He is just minding his own business, I guess. The zoo entrance has also been populated. And there's a bunch of minifigures on the little bridge that goes over this creek. Specifically a bunch of students that are heading to school. One of my favorite stories here in the residential area is actually right over here by 4 Privet Drive, because Harry is currently making his escape with Ron. He's hanging out in the flying car there, and down here we have the Dursleys. Looks like Dudley's currently being knocked over by an owl, and his parents just can't believe it. Flying car and just a mass amount of owls, and also trains ripping by as well. This story in front of the Quickie Mart is just a classic. We've got Chief Wiggum busting Snake. And also on either side of the Quickie Mart, I added some planters with some trees and flowered bushes. Now I couldn't add as many trees and flowered bushes as I have had in the past, just because the sidewalks aren't as big because of the bicycle lane in some areas, and just in general, the sidewalks aren't as big, and you want to make sure you have walk-through space for minifigures, and planters actually take 4 studs. Now I made some modifications to the plates outside of the hospital as well. So there was a half base plate that was open, so I actually nose plated 8 studs on this side, fully tiled it off, and put all the staff at the hospital right there, just because the hospital's not done yet. But they're just out front there. I actually love this minifigure. He's got like the cast with all the writing on it and the banana shirt. Such a great fig. But you'll notice that there's 8 studs there, and then also 8 studs on this side. I was just tired of looking at the exposed table, so I'm really happy that I was able to fill that space as well. The hospital is still like a work in progress, and eventually I'm going to be finishing that mock. Now we still have all the stories outside of the double Sanctum Sanctorum. You can see the train just barely made it past Spider-Man, who's flying through the air. I recently found all of these like posing elements, like the trans-clear bars on the pab wall, and I loaded up. So now you'll notice that a whole bunch of the minifigures, like the pose of them has been upgraded with the use of those elements. There's just a whole bunch of stories being told throughout the entire LEGO City now. It's going to be hard to point them all out, but there's people in wheelchairs, some minifigs on bicycles, couples walking hand in hand, and also some of these scooter rental stations have been added as well. For example, there's one right over here by the Quickie Mart. Most of the fun pop culture references are going to be in the downtown core, because that's where we have all the relative buildings. For example, we've got the sitcom tower right here. We've got Rachel and Ross sitting out front. Also Janice, and then we have Miles Morales right here in his vehicle, and Morbius flying above. Up top, we've got 2 great friends. That's Fat Thor and also Captain Jack Sparrow having a drink on the patio there. We've got Spider-Man figures everywhere, and also Ghostbusters figs. Busting all the ghosts. We've got Superman flying right there. Spider-Man. Venom and Carnage on the top of the Daily Bugle there, duking it out. The Green Goblin. Right down here, there's the Sandman once again. Also Doctor Strange and Ebony. A couple police officers right there having a little meet and greet. And then quite a few stories out front of Town Hall as well, in the little town square, such as the gamers that we've seen in the LEGO City before. They've changed their meeting place, meeting by the fountain now. A couple friends on the electric scooters. So people just enjoying the fountain. Gentleman in his wheelchair right there. The Sesame Street crew. Some more bikes in the bike lanes. Some shoppers that just finished up at the Grand Emporium. And there looks like there's some tourists right over there taking a picture of the train station, and also some of the staff of the hotel holding the door open for the travelers that are arriving. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's happening right here though. Like we've got Gargantos on the top of the building there, also Mysterio flying above, and there's Thor up there along with the Hulk on the top of the Avengers Tower. Another minifig flying through the air, that's Spider-Gwen. And then some outside of the City Press and Police Station and Fire Brigade as well. Can't forget all the people looking to board the train. As we make our way over this way, we'll see some stuff that's incomplete. For example, this building, I'm still looking to double or even triple this, make it a full base plate on this side of the street and a full base plate on this side of the street with the pedway. I think that is super cool. Up here we've got Taserface, Mantis, and Rocket Raccoon. I also want to make a parking lot for the bowling alley. I think that would be super cool. There's Loki just outside of the Avengers Tower. Hopefully we're getting a new Avengers Tower. We'll find out shortly if we are, I would assume. And then of course we have Diagon Alley. And the facades covering Diagon Alley. And then right here we've got some people that are about to walk into the Dinos exhibition, and this guy who's showing off his fossil. And this lady right here is winking at the gentleman who's walking by. And then a couple people with their dogs. And of course, they're right outside the pet shop, which makes sense because they have their dogs, right? Now this area, I'm not sure if it's done yet. I just put the pizza van there, but I probably should make this better. Maybe build some sort of custom food stand there that is permanent. I think that makes sense. And then of course, upgrade the benches on the left side there. I just put some picnic benches down. I've tiled it off so it looks nice and sort of matches up with that train station. I'm happy with it for now, but my main focus today was like minifigures and stories. So adding all of these minifigs, such as Sirius Black, who's just outside of 12 Grimmauld Place, Harry and Hagrid flying above, and McGonagall walking in through the secret entrance there. There's some people going into the pool hall right over here on the bottom of the Sigfig Tower. Of course, there's bicycles all throughout the bicycle lane. Some cop cars all over the place, still lacking traffic lights, so all of the intersections are not controlled at this particular point, but it's a project for another day. I've just got to come up with a new design. We got some people enjoying the view of the botanical garden. Some construction workers at the construction site. This whole area right here is pretty much empty. These are to be parted out, but I just put them there to fill the space for now. Eventually I'll be using that space for something different. Oh yeah, over here by the beach there's also the garbage cleanup crew that's having their morning meeting about emptying all the garbages in the Lego City. And there's also the little coffee shop there. I really like the beach. It is just such a warm place, and I'm about to go into a cold season, so it reminds me that there is still sunshine. You know what? I really enjoyed adding all the minifigures to the city today. I bet you there's a whole bunch that I didn't cover. There are stories absolutely everywhere, and it's, once again, what sort of makes the Lego City fun and come to life. And I really enjoyed the day just sort of evenly distributing those light posts all throughout the city. We've got some ones, there's some that glow in the dark as well. We've got moving trains and a whole bunch of stories and action happening in the Lego City. Fired up on it. Eventually I'm going to have to do the exact same thing to the amusement park. Luckily I've got a whole bunch of minifigures put aside for the amusement park, and I'll be adding a population to it in the very, very near future. There we go, everybody. That wraps up this Lego City update. A whole bunch of cool stories being told, and a whole whack of life happening, or whole whack of life in the Lego City. Pretty excited, everybody. Thank you so much for coming on by. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great stuff, and farewell.